Hi, my name is Wyatt Hunter, and I'll be graduating from the BA Creative Writing program. And today I'm going to read part of a short story called The River. And for a little context, The River is a short story I wrote about a couple who go up a river and they find an object and then they bring it back home and then they open up this box and reveal the object. So this is right when they find the object to the end. All right. They pulled it in with trembling hands and set it in the middle of the boat and stood there gazing down at it. Then they zipped into motion. Darcy untethered them and Jed got the motor roaring after 2 strong pulls of the starter cord and they were off, back downstream with their prize. They wanted to shout and holler, but they knew they shouldn't, so satisfied themselves with large smiles and many excited glances at the box and then at each other and then back to the box. They zipped back down to where they'd entered the river in half the time it had taken them to come up, and Jed steered the boat right onto the beach, and the two got out and pulled it fully from the water and carried it to the street where under a twisted traffic light they'd left the cart they used to move it. Then they headed home, nervous now and watching the streets. They made it. They walked through the garage past rows of dusty cars, the wheels of their cart clattering loudly, too loudly against the concrete walls. They hid the boat behind a green Jeep, grabbed their treasure, and climbed many flights of stairs to the 15th floor. They composed themselves before exiting the stairwell. They knew others lived in the building. They had heard them, like rats in the night. They calmly walked down a long, wide hall with a high ceiling that had once held glass, and Jed huddled the box under his arm, trying not to treat it with reverence. They opened the door to their apartment, which was large and clean, though cluttered with odd tidbits and makeshift weaponry, and engaged the several door locks behind them, and then moved to the center of the room to a coffee table and set the box down on it. They stood side by side looking at it, and then Jed looked up and out the wall of windows down to the river to the beach they had just come from. Then he looked up at the great tower, which was touched by another rare moment of illumination. Abruptly, Hank's face came to Jed's mind, worn, pale, and scraggly with pleading eyes. He shook the image away, but it sprang back in full. They were gathered in an old bar Hank had found, one that miraculously still had liquor, and Hank was talking about a find, something incredible. He went on forever, talking about it and an old map and something about a flying machine. Jed thought he'd had too much, but he wouldn't shut up, so he asked him about it to see if he would after he knew someone had listened. But the more Jed listened, the more he wanted to know, and soon the map was on the table, hand-drawn with dark brown, purplish stains. Then there were Hank's eyes again. But Jed shook himself again and looked back down, soon forgetting old Hank, excitement manifesting in twitching fingers. Darcy was trembling and moved her hands to the lid and opened the box. Jed was holding his breath, and then there it was, a baseball-sized metal orb encased in glass, and beside it a folded manual. Jed grabbed the manual and opened it like it was divine scripture. "Darcy," he said, "this is it," and tears welled in his eyes. "Look," and he showed her the booklet, and it read, "Fushigi Gravity Ball."